It's called Kayden's Law.
Yep, named after her.
Kathy Sherlock is fighting for new legislation born out of tragedy. Her daughter Kayden was 7 when she was killed by her father after a family court judge allowed him unsupervised visits, despite Kathy's arguments that he was violent. In her grief, Kathy started the foundation Kayden's Corner to push for change in the family court system.
Kayden's Corner has kept me busy for the past 3 years. I've had hope that things will change. I think that's the only thing that really keeps me going.
In Wisconsin, longtime family court judge Ramona Gonzalez says too often judges elected or appointed to family courts lack experience with domestic violence.
Lots of brand new appointed judges wind up sitting in family courts across the country.
Do a lot of the judges who are dealing with difficult custody disputes have background in these issues?
No. To put it bluntly, they're going to do their time, so to speak, in family court, and then they'll move on to a different court.
But while they are in family court, she says, decisions are rarely appealed or overturned. What kind of power does a family court judge have?
Oh, now you're talking about a significant amount of power.
Thank you very much.
Judge Gonzalez is part of the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges, which offers training for judges who handle custody cases.
If you have untrained judges that don't understand the dynamics of trauma, they will make assumptions, and those assumptions will lead to decisions that are based upon error.
Since 1990, her group has trained 10,000 judges, a tiny fraction of the total. One thing they teach, to avoid ignoring abuse claims because they're a so-called he said, she said.
We make decisions about he said, she said every single day. Every single day, we decide whether someone's paying the rent or not. But for some reason, when it comes to these cases, we all want to take a pass.
In Pennsylvania, Kayden's Law would allow for a training program for judges, and more controversially, if a court found a preponderance of evidence of ongoing risk of abuse of the child, any visitation with that parent would be supervised.
A beautiful young girl whose lives was taken from us.
At the national level, Kathy's congressman added a version of Kayden's Law to a House bill reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act.
The bill is passed,
providing grants to states that commit to training judges on child abuse and domestic violence.
It passed the House. That must have been a big day for you.
It was amazing. Nerve-wracking, but amazing.
Kathy and other advocates urge parents fighting to protect their children to find an expert witness to educate the court about trauma and domestic violence, look for ways to appeal a custody order based on procedural errors, and look for support groups for parents who've survived abuse.
I don't ever want anyone to feel like they were alone and had nowhere to go or nowhere to turn to. We may be fighting forever, but it's not hard to connect with other people. It's not hard to be there for others.
Kate, where does the legislation stand?
Lester, it's not clear yet if the Senate version of the Violence Against Women Act will include Kayden's Law, but advocates are talking with senators. On the state level, Pennsylvania's legislature is expected to vote soon, and several other states have drafted legislation to address issues involving family court.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.